Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Smart Inclusion video conversation about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the workplace. Today, we are talking with Kiko Liang. She is a seasoned human resources professional and consultant with over 10 years of proven experience. Kiko specializes in helping organizations build HR from scratch and guide businesses through cultural and business transformation journeys. And in less than 3 years, Kiko has helped several organizations achieve the Certified Great Places to Work recognition, as well as the Fortune Best Places to Work. So thank you so much for joining me today, Kiko. Good to see you. And today we are talking about building a better hiring process. So I guess that's the first question. How do we build a better hiring process?
Well, thank you for that introduction, Sylvia. This is really good. What I think it's the first thing we should think about in the diversity and inclusion is not only meeting the numbers on paper. We have to look at the recruitment process and how to incorporate DEI. So things that we should consider are like top management buy-in, having open communications with the teams, and be transparent about the process and how fair the process should be before we even start posting those roles. And if we got through this process, then we should really start to hone in on some of the job descriptions, like what is the language that we should be using so that it would be more objective and skill-oriented and not discriminating. And one thing that I would add is that since New York requires and some other states also requires pay scales, I think that putting that in is quite important for candidates to have an idea in terms of equity. They know what they're applying for, how much this role is about to be able to pay them, so they don't waste their time on just applying to the role and then find out, wait, this is not something that I'm looking for. It's actually much less than what I was expected.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. There's a lot of talk now about pay transparency. You know, employers didn't hesitate to ask for salary history, but hey, what are you offering, right? Is this going to be, what I need? But let's go back to, you mentioned skills-oriented hiring. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at the future of work and how the trend is right now, there's a talent war. Everyone is trying to crave for that talent. The court is in the employees' hands. They have a big decision to make. They can pick organizations based on their own career trajectory. So organizations really need to think outside of the box and not be so adamant about the degree requirement. I think that's really important, being that that's the top priority in most cases. So we should really look at the skill. Think about an example would be during the pandemic when they were looking for nurses and it was such a big shortage. What did most healthcare systems do? They actually hire nurses that were retired and the ones that just graduated from the programs to really go onto the field and start to take care of patients. So I think that the most important is really having that skill set to perform the job is more important than just having a license or a degree. And I would say that an AI tool like Smart Search can probably help eliminate some of these biases and present resumes that are targeted specifically to the skill set instead of that particular degree.
Well, thank you. And thanks for mentioning that, because I think that's an important point, is that the ideas of different qualifiers need to be weighted. So like in our AI tool, for example, you have settings where you could say that the industry experience would be more important than, say, the education, right? Or the, another skill would be perhaps the job titles, right? Like, do you have the managerial experience? So you can weight these skills and scores by industry or degree or not, and then the system, and you can even adjust them as you go along. Like if you don't get enough result, right, or it's not quite what you need, you can make various adjustments. And I think that that's really important. I think over the last few years, too much, maybe the last decade actually, too much emphasis has been placed on the degree rather than the real world experience. I mean, I could pass the written driver's test, but it doesn't make me a good driver, right? So the skill is an acquired thing, different than the learning, if you will. I
Right.
don't really say that right, but you you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
but how can we ensure, as we're sourcing candidates and we're trying to put more emphasis on skills, how can we ensure that we're really meeting the goal of achieving diversity and in our recruiting and inclusion in our hiring process?
So I think in this particular landscape right now that we're in, there's a trend where a lot of universities like Cornell and these big Ivy League schools, they're coming out with these certificate programs and they're targeting particular skill sets. And they have let's say a data analytics certificate, and that targets specifically for targeting data analytic programs. And unlike if you were just going into school, you probably get the whole 9 yards, not just that skill that you want to really go into school for. And then there are other platforms like e-learning. That's really a hot topic right now. Like you can use a lot of this different e-learning systems, even on LinkedIn and other resources to help, like Udemy. They will actually go through a program and you can actually learn different skill sets, like taking a picture. How do you take pictures? How do you draw? Like it's all very different and diverse of the information that you can learn. And it's not particular to one topic. It actually is very diversified into different topics as well. And then more so are some boot camps. So people actually will join boot camps and to really change their career. I actually had a client where they went through a change through boot camp. They first graduated with a finance degree and then moved on and went to Goldman Sachs. They left that organization and say, hey, I don't know if this is something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So my client quit their job and went into a 6-month boot camp program to do data science. And from there, that's where they actually learned the skill set, and now they're just flourishing in this field.
Wow.
And that's where they found themselves.
This I've heard similar stories that, you know, because of the pandemic and the way people had to change the way they work, they also started rethinking their, you called it the trajectory or the career journey, right? Like thinking about where they want to go with it. And I had heard about the certifications, but the boot camp is a new idea to me. And I'm glad that that's giving people the opportunity to pivot, right? And to adapt to some of the new realities and their own life choices, right? So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the top 3 things that employers can do to build that more inclusive recruiting and hiring process?
I think there would be 3 things that's really important to me. I think it's getting the job description that is very, it's more discriminatory free terminologies used on the job descriptions, and that does not exclude particular groups of people or different type of skill set. And secondly, to really look beyond that degree and hire for the skill, because ultimately it's the experience that really matters, and that expertise that is the best predictor of the future success. And lastly, I will say that they need to break that paradigm and go through non-traditional routes to find top talents. So going to regular avenues that they have in the old ways no longer works anymore. There's like these programs like boot camps and different programs that's available out there that people go to, and they can probably try over there and try to find these top talents in those different perspectives.
So not underestimating the desire to achieve certain personal as well as professional goals, that's the driver for engagement. As you source through these non-traditional routes, you're looking for people that really want to do that work, right?
Yeah,
So they're
exactly.
committing themselves to that new path. Well, that's really excellent advice. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share these tips and expertise with the HR and recruiting community. And as you know, Smart Search, we're developing our technology platform to really help support these initiatives that folks are taking for diversity in hiring. And we're talking with our clients and with industry advocates and vendor partners and thought leaders like you to, really address some of the challenges, the trends, and deliver some practical solutions on how employers need to create that more equitable workplace and that culture of belonging. Thank you so much, Kiko. It's great to see you today.
Same here. Thank you. The pleasure's mine.